The Philadelphia Eagles will have their picking of offensive players in the second round of the NFL Draft, despite having the 19th overall pick in the round. The draft heavy on offensive and defensive linemen, the Eagles can get several skill position players, and even an offensive lineman, if they choose it. No. 52. So, which offensive skill players are the best on the board? Here are a few players the Eagles will have their eyes on. Running back Darius Guice, RB, LSU. The Eagles have a first-round grade on Juice, a player already who has a huge supporter in Eagles assistant. Head coach Duce Staley. Philadelphia brought Juice in for a pre-draft visit in March and will bring him in again, confirming their heavy interest in him. In 3 seasons with the Tigers, Juice 5'10", 212 pounds, rushed for 3,074 yards, with a 5.3 yards per carry average, and 11 touchdowns. He also caught 32 passes for 250 yards with 3 scores. His best performance last season took place against Ole Miss, as Juice rushed for 276 yards while averaging a whopping 12.5 yards per carry in the Tigers' 40-24 victory. Juice led the SEC in rushing last season with 1,387 yards and 15 touchdowns, despite starting just 6 of 12 games. He set a school record with 285 rush yards against Texas A&M. Using his powerful lower body, Juice has the ability to get the tough yards with his legs and powers his way past opposing linebackers. Juice is an instinctive runner and won't try to do too much when it comes to reading his blockers. He hits the hole and lets his line set him up for success. Once Juice hits the second level, he has the breakaway speed that makes him dangerous in the open field, even if the stats don't show it. Juice had 12 runs of 15 or more yards in 2017, giving him a breakaway percentage of just 29.4, via Pro Football Focus. He's an every down back in the NFL that suffered an injury-riddled 2017, which shows when watching Juice film from last season. Even though he put up productive numbers, Juice is an efficient pass blocker, but there's room for improvement. He finished with a grade of 94.2 in pass blocking efficiency, 48th in the nation. If the Eagles select Juice at No. 32, he would be part of the running back by committee with Ajayi and Corey Clement, grooming for a much larger role in 2019 if Philadelphia lets Ajayi walk in free agency. Giving Juice 10 to 15 touches a game would be a major benefit in the Eagles' offense. Ronald Jones 2, RB, USC. Jones had a standout junior season at the University of Southern California, having 261 carries for 1,550 yards, 5.9 yards per carry, and 19 touchdowns. He had 9 100-yard games in 2017, including 5 straight to close the regular season. He had 3,619 yards and 39 touchdowns in 3 seasons with the Trojans. The 6'0", 200-pound Jones trusts his blockers and his deceptive before hitting the hole with precision. He has incredible acceleration when getting into the open field, and his loose hips allow Jones to make wrong cuts to elude defenders. A contact runner, Jones will fight for the extra yard and fall forward. He has just 2 fumbles and 591 carries. Jones averaged 3.5 yards per carry after contact in 2017, gaining 743 yards after being first hit while breaking 50 tackles on 212 carries, via Pro Football Focus. He does take a lot of hits and is coming off a 261 carry season, so there is some tread on his tires. The Eagles do like to use their running backs in the passing game, but it's extremely difficult to know how good Jones is in that department. Jones saw just 14 targets in the Trojans' offense last season, catching 13 of them, having 1 drop. He has just 40 targets over the past 3 seasons, catching just 32 passes for 302 yards and 3 touchdowns. One thing that does fall in Jones' favor with the passing game, he graded well on pass blocking snaps at 93.8. If Jones is drafted by the Eagles, he may be ahead of the curve on the other Eagles running backs, which lack in the pass blocking department. Ajayi was ranked the best pass blocker in 2017. Jones was the highest graded back in the nation in 2017, with a rushing grade of 93.1 and an overall grade of 92.4, via Pro Football Focus. Nyheim Hines, RB, NC State. Hines had 1,111 rushing yards last season, averaging 5.7 yards per carry. He's one of the more underrated running back prospects in this draft. Hines reminds scouts of Alvin Kamara with his elusiveness and his pass-catching ability out of the backfield. He has excellent route running ability, vision, and feel for the play developing. Running a 4.38 40-yard dash, Hines brings a sprinter's mentality to the gridiron, making himself dangerous at the next level. He had touchdown runs of 83, 54, 50, and 48 yards in 2017, an excellent kick returner. Hines also has returned 3 kicks back for scores. He can do it all at the running back position, but needs to be molded with the right coaching. Hines also needs work on catching passes, a staple for a running back in the Eagles' offense. Wide receiver Courtland Sutton, WR/SMU. Sutton has a strong feeling the Eagles are very interested in him, meeting new wide receivers coach Gunter Brewer his first night in town, then visiting the Novacare complex the next day. According to NFL Network, Sutton had an extended meeting with Doug Peterson and the rest of the coaching staff, getting the vibe the Eagles want to select him with the No. 32 overall pick. Sutton was nothing but productive at SMU, catching 193 passes for 3,193 yards and 31 touchdowns over the last 3 years, averaging 16.5 yards per catch. A first-team AAC selection, Sutton had 68 catches for 1,085 yards and 12 touchdowns in 2017. Sutton makes defenders miss frequently, forcing 26 missed tackles on 143 catches over the last 2 years. Sutton is truly better than the stats indicate thanks to inconsistent quarterback play on the Mustangs. The definition of a possession receiver, Sutton plays receiver like a post-up player in basketball, using his physical frame to get jump balls in the red zone and score touchdowns. He is excellent at adjusting his routes and tracing back to the ball, bailing his quarterback out. While Sutton won't scare a defender on a catch and runner with his speed, the overall body of work is impressive. He has natural instincts for the position. Sutton has 574 receiving yards on 20-plus yard passes in 2016, which was ranked 13th in the country, via Pro Football Focus. His deep ball stats dropped in 2017, again thanks to inconsistent quarterback play, as Sutton's deep ball catch percentage was just 33.3% compared to 45.7% in his redshirt sophomore season, 2016. Sutton does move well for a bigger receiver in his class and uses his size to win battles down the field, bailing his quarterbacks out with his catch radius. Sutton is strictly an outside receiver, even though he lined up in the slot for a few snaps last season, catching 6 passes for 101 yards. Built to be a possession receiver, Sutton will surprise scouts on his game tape with his ability to make defenders miss after the catch. He shows characteristics of Terrell Owens with his ability to snag a catch on the outside and make defenders miss, gaining extra yards in the process. If the Eagles were to draft Sutton, they'll use him to develop behind Alshon Jeffrey at the X, adding more depth on that side of the field. Sutton would contribute in the Eagles' offense, similar to the number of snaps Mack Hollins did his rookie year, becoming a red zone target to start before Philadelphia gives him a much bigger role in the offense. Christian Kirk, WR, Texas A. He also averaged 22.0 yards on punt returns and 21.3 yards on kick returns. In 2017, Kirk had 66 catches for 859 yards and 10 touchdowns, averaging 13.0 yards per catch. This was all despite inconsistent quarterback play in the majority of his career. NFL scouts believe Kirk is just beginning to scratch the surface of his raw potential, believing he can be a dynamic playmaker in the NFL. Kirk has drawn comparisons to New York Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham, with some scouts dubbing him the nickname Baby Beckham. Kirk has the explosiveness teams covet, demonstrating the ability to stretch the field from the flanker, or be a nice security blanket in the slot. Kirk's elusiveness makes him a tough out after the catch, and is a player that is very dangerous in open space, which scouts have raved about when checking out his game tape. Like Beckham, Kirk has the ability with his speed to take a 7-yard catch into a 70-yard touchdown based on his explosiveness after the catch. Kirk is only 5'10", 200 pounds, but his desire to be great is the V of player that fits the Eagles. See Nelson Aguilar. He's quick off the break with his rounds and a strong pass catcher. While Kirk seems like a natural fit for the slot because he hasn't tapped his full potential, he still can play both the flanker and the outside at the X. He also averaged 22.0 yards on punt returns and 21.3 yards on kick returns in his college career, and would fill that void immediately on the Eagles, but isn't projected to be a returner over time. Kirk is small, but so is Beckham and Brandon Cooks, who both use their speed and agility to create space and make explosive plays. The Eagles can use Kirk in the slot and on the outside, adding depth to their wide receiver core behind Mack Hollins. He also would fill a void in the return game. Tight end Dallas Goedert, South Dakota State. The 6'4", 260-pound Goedert is one of the more intriguing tight end prospects in this draft class, which is expected when he had 164 catches for 2,404 yards and 18 touchdowns over the last 2 years. Goedert can line up in the slot and on the outside, using his physicality to control the route against the defender. Another former basketball player, Goddard uses his big hands to make acrobatic catches and create a highlight reel in the end zone. He needs to be quicker off the ball and work on his route running, but can rise up the draft board with an impressive combine. Goddard had 92 catches for 1,293 yards, 11 touchdowns, averaging 14.3 yards per catch in 2017, a finalist for the Walter Payton Award as the top player in the football championship subdivision. Goddard has drawn comparisons to Wirtz, making him an attractive option for the Eagles. Goddard can work every level of the field as a pass-catching tight end. What separates Goddard from the rest of the tight ends in this draft class is his ability to line up in the slot and run crisp routes to separate himself from defenders. Most tight ends don't possess that trait in the draft process, but Goddard is one of the most polished pass catchers as they come in this class. While Goddard needs to be better after the catch, like Wirtz was when he was drafted, he's a strong fit as an O2 tight end in the Eagles' offense with his pass-catching ability and his adjustment regarding his route running. Goddard is polished to help Wirtz out, becoming a viable weapon in the Eagles' passing game. Via Pro Football Focus, Goddard forced 12 missed tackles after the catch, tied for the first in the nation. He also averaged 8.2 yards after the catch per reception, meaning he's very good at getting yards after initial contact. Goddard can get open from the slot and has experience in run blocking, having 206 run blocking snaps from a traditional tight end position last season. He still needs work in that department, not showing the power at the point of attack needed to be dominant. Mike Gesicki, Penn State Philadelphia has met with Gesicki, who has drawn comparisons to Wirtz. NFL Network draft analyst Mike Mayock said at the Combine Gesicki draws comparisons to Wirtz, but he's more athletic. Gesicki ran a 4.54 at the Combine and had a 21.5-inch vertical leap, cementing his status as a day 2 pick, potentially a first-round selection. At 6'6" and 252 pounds, Gesicki is long and athletic, using his basketball skills from high school to be a viable red zone threat. He has the ball skills to become an elite tight end and can play in a complex offensive scheme. He can make in-air adjustments to the ball while snagging it in for the completion. He also hasn't had a drop in 2 years. Gesicki struggles in run blocking, but is a nightmare for opposing linebackers. He also needs to be stronger at the point of attack, but still had 57 catches for 563 yards and 9 touchdowns for the Nittany Lions last season. "I think I can fit into an offense like that," Gesicki told Rich Scarcella of the Reading Eagle in March. "Zach Ertz is one of the best in the business. I've watched a ton of film of him. I watched the Super Bowl. They split him out and called a slant for the game winner. That's how I envision myself. It's going to be an exciting next 5 or 6 weeks." Gesicki caught 75% of contested targets, 9 for 12, best in the nation among tight ends, via Pro Football Focus. He had 4 touchdowns out of the slot, third most among FBS tight ends in 2017 and ranked 31st in the nation with 1.51 yards per route.